Hiya, my name is Bree. I'm a Salesforce admin, a certified Salesforce admin. I've been working in Salesforce for about 9 years now. On the last Salesforce admin exam, I made these slide decks to help study, and I figured I would put them on the YouTubes to help you guys study. It is important to remember that do not memorize the questions and answers. The questions and answers will change, but these types of questions will be on the exam. So it's better to know the process of how we got to the answer instead of just memorizing the questions and answers. A new approval process is being adapted by Zelda's widgets. After the opportunity has been approved, the contract is sent to the customer for signature as a final step in the process. How can the administrator implement this functionality? A. Hire a consulting firm to develop document signing workflow. B. Check the Send PDF box on the approval process setup. C. Install an app from the App Exchange. D. Use the Salesforce auto-sign flow. So as a Salesforce admin, you would know that there is no use the Salesforce auto-sign flow. There's not, that flow doesn't exist. You would know that send the PDF box on the approval process setup doesn't exist. You would also know that hiring a consulting firm to develop a document signature workflow is kind of pointless because you know how to make a workflow. The problem is there is no way to send the contract. So what you would need to do is go on the App Exchange and install an app from the App Exchange, because the App Exchange is the best marketplace for ready to install apps and solutions to all of your problems. Zelda's widgets is using a workflow field update. Which two actions can the admin use to complete this feature? Choose two options. A. Choose a formula field for the field update. B. Update the value of a field on a child object. C. Apply specific value to a field. D. Modify the record type of the record. So let's go with A. Choose a formula field for a field update. This is not going to work because formula fields are calculations and cannot be updated with workflow. And the question above specifically uses the term workflow field update. B. Update the value of a field on a child object. Workflow actions cannot update child records, so that one is out as well. C. Apply a specific value to a field. You can do that. And D. Modify the record type of a record, and you can definitely do that. So let's see if we are correct. We are going with C and D. A system administrator enables case feed actions, the feed items and support settings, with the appropriate profile permissions enabled. What changes will the user see? Cases will use feed layouts rather than standard page layouts. All case fields will be added to the chatter feed tracking. All case buttons will be converted to actions in the case feed. Case feeds will no longer be hidden on standard page layouts. So here's the thing, when you change something to a case feed and feed items, everything changes to the case feed user interface. So everything changes. So just not the buttons, things just won't be hidden. Everything will change. So everything will change to the feed layout rather than the standard page layout. And if you know that, then you don't need to think about any of the other options because you just know that you are correct. A system administrator creates a workflow rule that assigns a task to support manager role when a case is escalated. The case owner is complaining about being assigned these tasks. What should an administrator do to correct the issue? A. Remove the workflow and use a report instead. That doesn't even make sense. B. Change the workflow rule to assign task based on profile. Again, not making sense right there. Add a field update to the workflow to also change the owner. So you can do that, but that's not what the question is asking, because the case owner is complaining about being assigned these tasks. So you don't want to change the owner. So D is make sure there's only one user in the role, and that is what you want to do, because if you're assigning it to a role, you want to make sure that the user in that role is the user you want it to be assigned to. Zelda's widgets are adding objects to a custom report type. How many objects maximum can be added to this report type? 4, as long as the objects have associations. 2, as long as the objects have associations. Unlimited, as long as the objects have associations. 1, as long as the object has a master-child relationship. This one is just a straight up 4. That's the only answer. Just remember that you can have 4 custom or 4 objects on a report type. 4. 4 is the magic number when it's coming to report types and objects. Let's see if we're correct. And we are. What is the benefit of using a lookup filter instead of a validation rule? A, improves user efficiency when selecting a related record. Yeah, that seems about right. B, better error messages when incorrect record is selected. That's not even a thing, so B's out. C, adds the ability to edit multiple records from a list view. Again, you can't edit that. D, faster page refresh on Salesforce app, mobile app. So that might be true, but that's subjective, right? So, but it does improve user efficiency when selecting a related record. So that would be the answer because it's not subjective, it's completely objective. It does improve it. Let's see if we are correct. And we are. Zelda's Widgets has 1 million new account records to upload into Salesforce. What is a recommended method for uploading this data? A, utilize the data import wizard. B, utilize the App Exchange app. C, utilize the data loader. D, request help from Salesforce. Okay, so let's think about this one for a second. D, request help from Salesforce. You don't need to do that. You already have tools in your toolbox to do this. B, utilize the App Exchange app. Earlier in this video, we did talk about how the App Exchange has a lot of solutions, but you already have the data import wizard and the data loader. Now you just have to decide which one is best for this situation. Remember, the question says 1 million records. That is so many. The data import wizard can do 50,000. The data loader can do 5 million. Write that down. Data loader is greater than import wizard. Okay, so we're going to go with data loader because it can do 5 million. Let's see if we are correct. And we are correct. What 2 valid assignee options should an administrator use to configure case assignment rules? So that's a pretty weirdly worded question, but it's taken directly from a test. So it wants to know who can be part of assignment rules. So we have queue, case team, public group, and user. So user can definitely be assigned to a case, and it can be in the assignment rules. Public groups cannot own records, therefore they cannot be assigned cases in the assignment rules. So a case team is just a group of people who work on cases, but they cannot be assigned the case. So a queue can be assigned the case and someone can pick it up. So the answers would be a queue and a user because those both can own cases. Zelda's Widgets uses a validation rule to prevent invalid data. What are 3 conditions where the rule is used? Choose 3 options. When records are submitted using web-to-lead, when records are imported, when records are updated by workflow rule, when records are edited and saved by a user, when records are deleted by a user. So we know that records being deleted do not trigger validation rules. So that's wrong. So let's work our way up. When records are edited and saved by a user, so every time you change or edit a record, it has to go through the validation rule process, so that would be correct. When records are updated by a workflow rule, wrong. Workflow rules do not trigger validation rules. They like send emails. So that's wrong. When records are imported, so that is correct because you are creating a record, and every time you create a record, it has to go through the validation rule process. So A, when records are submitted using web to lead, same thing. When you do web to lead, it is submitting a record or creating a record, and when a record is created, it starts the validation rule. So I'm going to say that it's A, B, and D. How should a system administrator implement bi-weekly notifications for sales rep that include opportunities that need attention based on the opportunities owner's last login, past due opportunities, and all opportunities that have not been updated in 30 days? So it's asking for a lot of information. Create an opportunity, update reminders. That seems pretty legit. Create a chatter group. That does not seem legit because what's that going to do? If they're not checking on their accounts, they're not going to be checking their chatter group. Create scheduled dashboards. So if you created a scheduled dashboard, it would not be able to be scheduled based on their last login. And create scheduled reports. So scheduled reports would have the same problem as the scheduled dashboards, and plus dashboards are contingent on reports, so you could rule those two out right away, C and D. So then we have create a chatter group, which we know is not going to work. So the best possible answer is create an opportunity, update reminders. So that was 10 more questions for your exam to study off of, and I thank you so much for watching or listening. Again, my name is Bree, and I'm here as your Salesforce study buddy. Thank you. Bye-bye.